Welcome to the pairing mode. Not my usual intro. Well, what the hey? Here's the usual intro.
You're watching the pairing mode.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. It's late. We're actually getting started doing this podcast a little later than usual. We're both kind of tired. So I just kind of want to get into it. I am Lionel from Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert from Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome to the pairing mode. The somber mode, apparently.
Yeah. But before we get started, if you like somber people, or even if you don't, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Do us a solid. Anyways, thanks for watching, those of you who are, and those of you who have and will again. So let's get started. What are we going to get on to today first?
Well, it's kind of an OpenAI day, really. Other than Google, they did come up with a. Well, yeah. So let's start out with the Google news. So Google apparently has come out with a new chip to power their AI models on the back end, not like phones and things like that. That's they're not using their Tensor chip anymore. It's called Ironwood. And apparently Anthropic has actually made a commitment to use their infrastructure for their Anthropic. So, or Claude, I mean. So I don't know if that could be big. I mean, obviously Nvidia has been dominating the news. AMD came into the mix not too long ago.
Yeah.
So, we'll just have to see how that pans out.
Well, I think it'll pan out pretty well for Google. Google's going to be making money hand over fist with that and the whole thing with Apple and the $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
Speaking of Google, as we kind of stay into that area, Google, well, they haven't confirmed this yet exactly, but it's looking very much like, and I've actually even asked, oddly enough, I asked Gemini about it. Gemini did a research thing as I asked it to, and came up with the same prediction that I did, and that is that by the end of the year, based on past performance or past releases, that Gemini, what model are we looking at? 3.0 should be in its preview. Well, we already know by the end of this month, but sometime in December, we should be possibly at least looking at a wider rollout of that, which should put the live version, Gemini Live, on the 3.0 model roughly somewhere between the middle of January and the middle of February, which is pretty much what I said. However, they've been beaten to the punch. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Chop AI. As a podcaster, one of the biggest challenges is getting your content discovered. That's where Chop AI comes in. Their powerful AI platform automatically finds the most compelling moments from our show and transforms them into short, shareable clips, perfect for social media. It saves us countless hours of editing and helps us reach new listeners just like you. Ready to grow your brand? Well, visit them at chopai.app to see how it works. There'll be a link in the description. And now, back to the podcast.
Kind of.
Well, they have. Absolutely, they have. I mean, not the live part, but who's ahead?
Well, okay, so he's talking about ChatGPT and OpenAI rolling out 5.1 literally this afternoon, today sometime. And, it's supposed to have a much better way of being more conversational, have more personality, smarter, faster. But obviously the big thing we're waiting for is 6.0. That's supposed to be what 6.0 and 3.0 were supposed to be like battling it out. I don't know that 5.1 is necessarily to beat him to the punch to 3.0.
Well, okay, fair enough. But I thought they were on 4. I didn't realize they were on 5. Maybe that's why I said that. I thought they were still on 4.0.
No, they've been on 5 for a while now.
Oh, well, that explains. See, I don't use it as much as you do. I've
Yeah,
just
yeah.
embarrassed myself on the show.
Well, you
Congratulations.
remember we
You
did
got
talk
that
about it
as
because
a new
they
short
remember
now.
that's when they rolled
Yeah.
all the personality back is when they
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. It's getting a little bit better now. I did
yeah.
just notice just before we started the show that the personality of the live version is getting a little better, but the live version, according to the live version, is still on 4.0. So it's not even on 5. I assume it'll be upgraded to at least 5 when 6 is out. Um, I
Yeah, I
will
don't
say
know.
this
That's
though, Gemini Live has an updated version, but everybody doesn't have it yet. It's been more than 2 weeks, and you'd think everybody would at this point. Um, you can't change the voice, which is very frustrating, and I think we have to wait for the new version of Gemini and Gemini Live before they'll finally allow you to change the voices, because this is part of what they're claiming. And I think the reason why I'm hearing this one is because this is a precursor to when everyone gets the live Gemini Live availability. Oh, sorry, anybody who pays for it on their TVs and their smart devices. Gemini is coming to all these devices, but Gemini Live you have to be paying for. What is it, the Google, one of the Google Home packages? If I remember, I don't remember what it's called. Do you
premium, I
remember?
think. Isn't it premium?
There's yeah,
I think it's premium.
there's two levels of it. You can get the lower level, which if you're already paying, if you're a Google One subscriber and you have 2 terabytes and you've got the Gemini package and all that, then you get that one for free because it's like $10 or something like that. The other one's $20. So if you want that one and you are a paid subscriber already, then you'll only pay 10 instead of 20. If you don't pay for any of those things and you want it, you'll have to pay the 10 or $20 depending on what package you want. If you've got a lot of cameras and you want to get 30 or was it 60 full days or whatever it is of continuous recording and being able to go back and look at it without having to save it, then you'd have to pay the $20 a month. If you only need 30 days and you're not as concerned about it, you don't go on vacation all the time, whatever, then the $10 is good enough. And if you already pay for Gemini Advanced or whatever they call it, then you don't have to even worry about that. It'll come free,
Yeah, which that's
which is
new
awesome.
because you remember I was going to cancel my subscription. I actually already had it canceled, but my cancellation wasn't until I think January because you got to pay a year at a time. But I wasn't going to up another year at $200 or 250, whatever ridiculous amount it was. And then all this changed, and they rolled it into the lower tier plan into my
Yeah.
subscription that I already pay for. So I'm like, well, okay, well, if they're going to give it to me for free, well, then of course I'll keep using it.
Wait, which plan were you gonna cancel?
I had it was Nest Renew, and it was their like everything plan where you could have as many cameras, you could have the 60 days
Oh
or
yeah, right, right. Yeah. See, again, I don't have any Nest cameras, so I don't really
right, but
understand that
they upped the
technology.
price again, like another
Yeah.
$100 or $50 a year or something. I'm like, they keep upping it every year. I'm like, I'm not paying $250 a year for it. So I was going to
Yeah.
cancel it, but
Exactly.
then they
Right.
made the lower tier available in my plan I already have with my Google One subscription. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, okay, well, yeah, I'll keep
Now,
using it
and
then.
and again, even if you decided, well, no, I need to be able to look for 60 days and blah blah blah,
Yeah,
it would only be $10 extra a month, or basically 120 as opposed
right,
to 240. So even that would be less than what you were already paying. But
right, yes,
to not have to pay at all because you're already paying for another service that includes it, even
yeah,
better if that's
yeah,
all you need. Like, that's all I would need if I decided to get any cameras. My only problem with not getting cameras is other people in the house use a different Wi-Fi. No one else would be able to use it, so putting a Ring doorbell would be pointless. The only other thing I can think about is one of the updates to Google Home, which may already be rolled out, is you can now set up a family thing for it, and you can let other people on it regardless of whether they're on the same Wi-Fi or not. They still have access to it, and you can limit what they can do. So,
Right.
and even what they can see. So you might be able to say they only have access to the doorbell cam and the security cameras and stuff like that, and not my personal stuff like my
Right.
TV and everything, which would be interesting. So it does make me think that, yeah, maybe it would be kind of nice to have it, because then everybody would say, yeah, okay, the doorbell's a good idea. We don't have a doorbell here.
Yeah, well, I like the
It's a,
Nest doorbell because it pops up on our TVs because we use the
I
streamers.
want to be notified when my packages come.
Yeah, it pops up. Yeah, it notifies everything. So it's nice. So yeah, I was glad that they reduced that because I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna pay for it.
Yeah. So now you don't have to worry about it.
No, no, I don't have to
Once
worry
it
about it.
rolls out, if it hasn't
Yeah,
already.
that's another issue too. That's like, again,
Well,
my
you
shit
can pay for
still.
the pack. You can pay for it now, like right this minute. You can get the package, but whether the features have rolled out yet, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The feature set, of
Yeah.
the whole Gemini at home or in home or whatever they call it. Half the
Oh
shit
yeah,
seems
right.
like it's
Yeah.
like it bounces in. Like, again, I can ask one hub one thing, and it'll be like an old voice. I can ask another hub downstairs something, and it'll be like the new fun voice. But I still don't have a conversation mode that I can tell. But then yeah, it's all still wonky. I wish they would just like push it out and be done with it. It's
Yeah.
irritating.
Well, I wish they'd push it out to Canadians. You know, and the Google Ask Photos thing. This is really cool. Just today, they put out a blog post, and they said, and now it's available in the coming weeks, because you have to wait, because slow rollouts, to a whole host of new countries. And I scrolled down the list. It was a massive amount of countries. I mean, it's like half the world or more. Basically, it's available in almost every single country you can get any kind of Google anything. Canada's not on the list.
I
That's
find that
absolutely
hard.
mind-boggling.
I
Now,
find that
I
hard to
people say,
believe.
"Well, maybe it's regulatory." What are you talking about? I can ask Google anything I want. Why can't I ask it about my own personal? Where's my bleeping thing here? I got to find my bleeper. That's not it. Oh, there we go. Why can't I ask my mother photos? Okay. Uh, personal stuff. And
Yeah,
that makes no sense whatsoever.
I
Uh,
don't know.
but they have done something kind of cool in Google Messages, and this is despite the fact that they're calling this a pixel drop. It has nothing to do with Pixel whatsoever. It's literally anybody who has Google Photos,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure if it's not available on iPhone, it will be very, very soon. They did say that. Is you can now remix your photos using Nano Banana, or powered by Nano Banana, that is, right in Google Messages. And that includes photos that have already been sent to you or you sent out months
Yeah.
or years ago. We tested it out. There are limitations. It's not full Nano Banana, so you can't say, oh, make my arm go over my head and turn my face into a monkey. But you can change your clothes, change the background. If you're hugging your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever, you can't change that.
Well, I did move to Mars.
Yeah, but if that was the one with your wife, both of you did, and she doesn't need oxygen.
Right.
So that was, and it's kind of funny because that's how I tested it. Is I went back through a bunch of photos that you had given me access to from a trip. I think it was Disneyland.
The winter, no, it was the Winter Classic
Oh,
that
the
I
Winter
went.
Classic. Sorry, I was thinking of the Disneyland trip. Yeah, the Winter Classic one, and one of them, of course, a couple of them, I changed your hockey jersey to Winnipeg Jets, but why wouldn't I?
Yeah. And did
And
you
the
see
other
the
one,
one that I changed? It just put the Predator logo on the Jets actual jersey.
and it wasn't even a Jets jersey. The
Well, I
logo
know,
was
but the kind
not
of
great.
colors were similar. But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
interesting enough, the Jets jersey had like this Americana sort of thing going along
yeah,
the shoulder. So when you changed it to the Preds one, it looked like Team USA or something.
yeah,
Like it's like it worked out perfectly in the end.
it's funny. Well, see, here's the
Yeah.
confusing thing, and that's why when we were texting back and forth, I was confused because in Google Photos, the remix function is actually a separate menu. Like you open Google Photos, you hit the plus, and then you have remix.
Yeah.
So why they name that remix? But see, that
Yeah, but
remix that's
that's
in there
you're
is totally
confusing the
different.
two. That's not remix. What you were describing was the what was it? Photo to video thing or whatever.
No, no,
Well,
that's
that's
not
what you
what
said
I'm.
to me. They're the
No,
exact
that's a.
word you gave me.
It's no. That's
It's in the
part
same
of
menu.
the
Is what you're
options. It's
saying.
in the same menu, but if
Okay.
you open Photos and I hit the plus, it says right here remix. And that's where you can turn people into like cartoon characters or anime
Oh yeah,
characters.
but yeah, no, that's a different thing again. That's not the same thing at all.
I understand that, but my point is they named two things remix that do two different
Oh, that's
things.
yeah, that's Google. How many
I know
messages
that's what
did
I
they
was
have?
trying to say,
How
that
many
it's like,
message how many messages apps did they have about
but that's
5
why I
years
was
ago?
confused because I thought you were talking about that
You
remix
forgot what company
function.
you were dealing with, didn't you?
And then when you said that, then I just happened to like, because I was like gonna save the image, and then when I long pressed it to save it, that menu popped up. I'm like, wait a minute, that says remix with Nano Banana. Like that's totally different. That's what was confusing me because
Right,
Google likes
yeah.
to be confusing, and
Well, I don't have that either. I don't have the text or the whatever you call it, the
you don't have any of those things
photo
in
to
that
video.
menu,
None of it.
huh? That's weird.
Canada.
See,
We're not
but that
allowed
doesn't make
apparently to.
sense. Like
Of course, it doesn't make sense. It's just somebody deciding to make the decision, and nobody argued with them. Oh well, we have to keep it in the U.S. for now. Until they made this announcement, none of those things were available to any other place in the world. Why they left Canada out of that, I don't know. Maybe it's a typo. I doubt it because I'll look again. It's not there. I'm telling you right now, and it's a pixel drop. You'd think with the pixel drop is when I would get that. But
maybe you
no.
got to
So
update your
I hit
app.
this
Maybe you
little
got to
plus
check for
thing. Nope,
updates.
nothing new. Photo books, prints, and more, animation, cinematic photo, highlight, video, collage, and album. That's it. Nothing else. If I hit the create button, it's just the same things again. There's nothing new.
So
Oh, and
when you
by
hit
the
the
way,
plus,
everything you're saying about hitting the plus button, you should be able to do with the create button unless you don't have the create button.
no, I do have the create button.
Then your options that you just mentioned should be in the create button too. But then
Right.
again, it's Google, so they might not be.
Well, there seems to be a lot more in the plus button than there is in the.
Yeah, you got to scroll around. It's like they'll put 4, 5, or 6 things in like one square, little squares of their own. But that said, how would I know? I don't have it.
Yeah, because on the plus button I have, well, it says album collage, highlight, video, cinematic photo, animation, remix, photo to video, photo books, prints, and more.
Yeah, see, no, 2 of those I
Anyways,
don't have. The rest I do.
yeah, it doesn't
But
make
then
sense.
again, you also probably have ask photos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because that has an ask button. Again, that's different. That one allows you to do basically the same
No.
thing as the remix, but way more robust. It's basically full Nano Banana in Google Photos.
Well, it doesn't say ask. It says help me edit, and so I can click that, and then I
Yeah,
can
but
tell it what I want.
is there not an ask button?
No, when I go into edit,
There isn't an ask button before you go into edit.
no,
Well, wait a minute. I'm getting confused myself. I'm wrong. The
that's
ask
home.
photos is about asking about your photos. In other words, uh, if you hit the ask button, you can say, I need to find my picture of my dog when he had a frisbee in
Right.
his mouth or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, of
Yeah, that's
course,
over here. Ask.
yeah, again, not in Canada.
So if you open a picture and you go to edit,
Nothing, nothing,
you
nothing.
don't have
Nope,
help me edit.
nope, nope.
Huh.
Here's
Well,
the interesting thing. When they first talked about it and it was in beta, they gave it to almost everybody, at least in Canada, and then it went away in like 3 days. When they gave me the new photo thing, which is missing a lot of things that you can't even do, like trying to fine tune what you want to actually erase or add to or reimagine. It's now no longer has a different button to get you into reimagine or to change this or that. It's
Hmm.
now just automatic when you open it. So if you want to pinch in, it it won't let you do it now because you've pinched in and it thinks you don't want to do that. Now it thinks you just want to resize it. So it's like they put the resize, the reimagine, and pixel peeping all in the same place. It's a foolhardy idiot thing to do, and so yeah, I'm the Google fanboy, but I'll call it like I see it. They're making a huge mistake. The only reason why they're not going to get surpassed by somebody is nobody has ever made the perfect photo app that you aren't concerned that somebody's stealing your shit. Yes, you can get some, including one that Google makes that's completely 100% on your phone. I hate to tell you this, but the way things have been going the last few years, I refuse to just put everything on my phone. Everything I would have filled up my phone years ago, and then every time I get a new phone, they go, "Well, you can just buy a new drive and then plug it in and back everything up." Yeah, I could, and then every 2 years, I'd have to get another 2 terabyte drive. What? I'm exaggerating about the size, but
Yeah.
but still, to me, it's not the same thing. Plus, I hate to say this, if you think you have problems with online drives, if you tell me you've never had a drive fail on you, you've never had more than one, you've hardly ever used it, or you're a liar.
It happens.
It does happen. And I say, well, I don't use hard drives. You got to use solid state. If you think a solid state drive can't fail, see reasons number one.
Yeah, I've had a lot of flash drives fail.
Yeah.
The flash memory comes corrupt and,
There are
poof.
certain brands that when you ask, depending on what you're doing, and I can't speak specifically, the experts will say, yeah, use this brand and that brand and that brand. Stay away from this one, and this one. 3 key brands, regardless of what you're doing, tend to be Lexar, SanDisk, and Samsung.
Yeah. I
But
use SanDisk and Samsung. I don't use any
yeah, I
Lexar.
was going to say only 2 of those stand out as very, very rarely having major issues.
Yeah.
And when they do, they're both companies that will gladly, within a warranty period, send you a new drive. However, they can't help you get your data back.
Right.
You can get your data back in some cases, but not as often with a solid state as with a hard disk. With a hard disk,
Yeah,
man,
I've never
you do
tried to
it.
recover any data off of solid state, so I have
Yeah,
no
it's
idea.
it,
I've done some
it's a
data
pointless
recovery
endeavor.
off of a normal platter drive, but
Yeah, because that's actually not even hard. And if you can't do it yourself, there's experts that can too. If you're capable of it yourself, then yeah, it's and you can erase. This is true. They have military grade erasing software. Uh,
oh yeah,
but you have to actually set it to the highest level where it uses random, which is never really random, by the way, uh, data and overwrites the data. I believe the default is like 3, and people say, "Oh, you should do it 7." It's actually, I think, 21 times that you should actually overwrite it. That takes hours for just a 40 gigabyte
yeah.
drive. Never mind 2 terabytes. You know, but that's pretty much what you need to do. So when you think about it, if you've got lost data from a corrupt, like not a solid state, but a platter, it's retrievable. But from a
Not
solid
if you
state,
smash it.
well, that's true. But I'm saying if it messes up. But if solid state's completely different, when they go, they go. And by the way, if you want to know, getting back into AI here, uh, AI can be vulnerable to the same things because sometimes they just need to get the information, and if the drives they're looking for are corrupt, then they have to go in a different direction. And corruption can be on more than one. It happens. So they can hiccup. And if you were going to have AI take over your entire company and have no employees, did I just segue to something? Okay, I'll let you speak.
Yeah. Yeah. He segued into some news about Macrohard. If anybody remembers back, I don't know, it's been a
Macro.
year or so, he was making fun of Microsoft, and he's going to start a company called Macrohard, obviously a play on words there, um, to basically say, yeah, Microsoft, you have a small, hard, little wee wee, or a small, soft little wee wee. But
Jesus.
um, apparently they're moving further along with the macro hard company than what I thought. And, you know, his vision is to dethrone Microsoft. Now, as we discussed before we
Microsoft.
started,
Well, we haven't started yet.
I don't think that's going to be feasible. Um, there's a lot that would have to happen for that to even be a possibility, because Windows is it's used worldwide by governments and companies and individuals, and people think that, well, there's Linux and this. Well, no, I'm sorry. Linux, Mac, all these things are like a speck on the you know ass of my dog compared to Windows. It just doesn't compare. You can't use them in business like you can the others. It just doesn't function the same. And I know this because I actually have had companies that have had Mac servers and they suck ass.
Most POS systems use Windows,
Yes,
and at least half of the RF scanners used in warehouses and factories are Windows. The other half, of course, are probably based on uh, Android.
probably. Yeah.
But it's about 50-50 from what I've seen. But that's still, you're talking about millions,
Yeah. Well,
millions of
the
units
point of
just
the
Windows.
video I watched was really
Yeah.
like, he is moving forward with it, and it is feasibly possible that he could come up with something. Of course, we all know that. I mean, despite the man being a jackass, he's genius. He has done things that people said you can't do, and he's done them. That's proof. So,
I don't know that the word genius is right, but go on.
well, whatever you want to label it, he's done things that people told him he can't do, and he's done it. And it
Yeah.
happens all the time. Every time he lands a rocket, NASA said you can't do that, and he's been doing it for years now.
Yeah. Well, he's
So,
ambitious and he's smart. He's a good businessman. He doesn't invent anything, just to be clear.
well, but he comes up with the idea. It's his idea that spawns the
Yeah, I agree.
creation
That's what I said.
of. So,
Good
yeah.
businessman. He's a thinker. I
Well, that goes
mean,
beyond being a businessman. Coming up with that kind of idea. I could be a good
let
businessman,
me
but
put
not
it
come
to you
up with
this
that
way. He's
idea.
P.T. Barnum. Okay, he made a better circus.
Yeah, well, he's definitely got a circus, but um, it is an interesting concept, and I do think it's something that Microsoft needs to pay attention to, because the whole point was, look, Microsoft is the majority of their business is in software. And why do you need 228,000 employees to run a software company when AI can do software? That's kind of the point. 30,000 foot, looking down point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's true. You know, AI is getting extremely good at complex tasks and designing applications and debugging applications, and there will be a time where that will be a feasible option, but
Well, to a point.
to a point. And that's kind of the point that the guy in the video is making at the end. He's like, yeah, I think that it's something they have to pay attention to. 100%. Do I think he's going to be able to dethrone Microsoft? No. It's going to be something that it's going to force Microsoft into a different type of business model. He's like, the Microsoft of today is going to look way different in 2027, 2028. It's not going to be the same Microsoft
The
because they're
thing
going to
is,
have to pivot.
I don't know that they're going to have to pivot much because of him and his stuff. I think if anything, it's going to be more along the lines of having to pivot because of Google and help me out here, the other guy.
OpenAI.
Thank you, OpenAI.
Well,
Uh, but
it's kind
there's a
of
reason I'm saying
conglomerate of
that.
things. It's
But
all the things together, you know. And the fact that obviously Microsoft made a huge investment into OpenAI, which
they
now
would,
they've kind of redone their investment in OpenAI, and they're now developing internally. You know, it's a shim sham, and it's going to be that way for a long
yeah.
time.
Here's the thing. Did you say flim flam?
Flim flam, shim sham, shing shong, whatever you want to call it.
I thought we were talking about Trump for a second there. You said flim flam, man. No. Anyway, that's what he is. I'm sorry. I said it out loud. Anyways, the flim flam, man. Anyway, where was I?
You
Oh,
just
right.
derailed yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Does this sound familiar? Anyways, um, I don't think Microsoft is ever really going to have to worry about it at all. And the bottom, well, for me, what I'm thinking is, we're talking about software. So can AI be like, oh yeah, okay, well we can make this and we can make that. First of all, you're always going to have somebody to tell the AI what to make. What are you just going to sit down and wait for AI to say, oh, I think that people are going to want an app and I'll make one? Like, no,
That was his
it's going
point
to
in
be
the
more to that.
video at
Yeah,
the end because you didn't make it that far.
no, I didn't. I got bored of it because it was an AI video.
But that was his point. He's like, it's going to be a world where you still need people, but the people are going to decide what the AI
But
needs to
yeah,
do as opposed to
think
doing what the AI
in
does.
something like Windows, that is not going to happen because there's way too much intricate crap. You can get AI to write all this stuff in, but AI is never going to be able to put together something as complex as Windows that can work as seamless as it does. It's seamly sometimes
Well,
as seamless as it can when everything is working properly. Now, the one place AI might be able to do a little bit better than any human has ever been able to do in this in regards to Microsoft is actually have somebody, AI mind you, answer the damn phone when you need to talk to customer service. That's something I would like to see. If it's only AI, so be it. As long as the AI can respond the way Gemini Live responds, the way ChatGPT, the live version, responds, even the way Grok responds. Hell, I'd rather have Grok answer the phone at Microsoft and say, "Oh, you mother," but still answer my questions.
well, I disagree in that AI will never be able to develop a Windows type operating system that functions.
I
It's
didn't say
doing
they
things
couldn't do
now.
it. I said it wouldn't be useful to anybody.
No, that's not what you
Not
said,
not not
but
good enough.
it's I 100% disagree. It's doing things now that I never thought it was going to be able to do in the manner in which it does it. And to say that it's never going to happen, I learned a long time ago to never say never because 9 times out of 10 I am
Okay.
proven wrong.
I
And I
I
think that it's
I
going to develop to a point to where you're going to be able to make it do whatever you want it to do.
okay, maybe not. Here's the thing. Every single when I say professional video, I'm talking like motion picture television and whatnot. Color greatest. I can't speak it all today. People, colorist. That's the right word. Thank you. For people who do color grading, for commercials, movies, television, people using DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, so on and so forth. Both Mac OS as well as Windows. These people aren't going to be able to do this on this system because none of these expensive tools are these developers going to turn around and go, all right, I'm going to make another version for this AI crap. They're not going to do it because the whole basis of being paid the money is that it has to do it. If AI ends up doing that and everything else, they're going to lose the money because now you say, oh, people are going to pay however many hundreds of dollars in the case of Premiere Pro per month um, for AI to do it? No, because again, you have to have a vision. So you always have to have a human being doing it. So therefore, AI trying to make this software is going to leave gaps where you cannot fix it. Oh, well, you can call somebody and they can get the AI to fix it. No, because it's all done by feel. Everything that DaVinci Resolve does updates constantly, by the way. Every update they put it in is something that all of the community has been asking. Can you fix this? Can you put this in? Can you make this better? I need to be able to make my reds pop better without messing up my oranges. And then they give you these tools to do it. And then to top it all off, on top of all that, the community, third-party community on the outside makes what's called DCTLs and power grades that you can either get for free if they're not that good, or maybe sometimes they are and it's a fluke, and paid versions, which can cost anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds of dollars to get professional grading tools where you can do 3 clicks instead of 25 or 10 clicks instead of 100. That's a really piss poor example. If you're a colorist, please forgive me for that. But this is something you're never going to be able to replace. And an operating system that works, that's built strictly on AI where it would work, I think it would work really well in those POS systems I was talking about earlier. Stuff like that.
Well, right. I'm not saying that I think Windows is going away or a variant of or whatever you want, whatever it's called down the road. I'm just saying that I do believe AI can ultimately replace a lot of what they're saying it can replace with tasks that aren't. You're talking a very small subset of people who do coloring and photography. That's
That was
not the
just that
largest
was that
sector of
was
business.
that was one
There's
example.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's a
One
small subset.
example.
There's way more business models that are strictly just ones and zeros, numbers
Yes.
and shit that can easily be handled
Architects.
by some type of
Architects.
AI thing. Yeah. I mean, so
Windows. Architects. Windows. There's a reason for it. There's a reason they use Windows. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of those people already, too. Designers, millions more of those.
but you don't know there's not going to be a tool that comes out that they can use
Of
that's AI
course,
driven.
there's going to be a
So,
new
I mean,
tool. There's always a new tool, but there are certain things that you change, they will reject, good or not, because there are certain things that have a perfection to them that only really need to be updated to a point. And those are the tools that they're learning and using, and they don't want to go to something else. There's people that use certain video editors that refuse to use a different one, despite the fact it's better. They don't care because this is what they're used to. And all I'm saying is some of these tools aren't going to be available on some suddenly new system. This is the reason you can't get DaVinci Resolve on Android. It could run on Android. It could run better on Android than in most Windows systems. I could use it on my phone better than on my computer. My phone's more powerful than my computer, but it's not going to happen. You can get it on tablets, I think, on an iPad, uh, but that's about as far as it goes. It has to be Mac, iPad OS, or Windows. You can't even do it on an iPhone. So
well,
That's just
I, I just,
that's just one example. Obviously, I'm going to give you every example that there is. And again, this is my opinion. This is just what I think. I'm not right.
of
It's not
course, and
written
it's just what I
in
think. I
fact.
just think that
Yeah.
it's too wide open, and I've stopped making speculations and calculations because I've been wrong because I've always underestimated capabilities of people coming up with tools like AI to do something that I thought I never thought this could do that or that could do this or whatever the case may be. It's just I think it's wide open, and I think it's going to be a long time. I won't be around before all this shit gets like ironed out where things become like norm for, to some degree. I don't know. It's just that shit's moving so fast. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane.
Well,
And
yeah, that's actually a bit of an understatement. It is moving pretty quick. There's a lot of things um, that are coming up with AI. Google still hasn't, they got their new stuff coming, so we're going to see into the new year what they have with OpenAI and 6, and that's just on the consumer level. To be clear, these tools that the other people that aren't the average Joe, you and me, are using way deeper tools in
oh yeah,
Gemini and ChatGPT and stuff that I don't understand at all. They're doing way more powerful things. They they they're using these models to do things that used to take supercomputers to do, and they're
yeah,
doing it in a fraction of the time a supercomputer could do it just a few years ago. A fraction
yeah,
of the time. Difference is a supercomputer had to calculate it all itself. These models basically go, the information's already there. Now, if it's not there and they actually have to calculate it, again, they'll do 14 trillion calculations at once. A supercomputer would do however many billions of calculations in sequence at once, like X block, X block, X block, as fast as it possibly could, which was ridiculously fast compared to anything you use at home or your normal office computer. But these Gemini, these AI models are far more robust and powerful because they've got giant data centers. And even when it's just a thinking model and they're not having to reach out for information and do the thinking, again, they can do all of that in a fraction of a second in most cases. So when it's something deep, it might take several minutes instead of a week for a supercomputer, or several, like maybe a couple of seconds versus 20 minutes for a supercomputer.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, and like this whole new chip with Google that's coming out, this Ironwood. I mean, there's no telling because it's supposed to be 4x faster, more powerful. You know, you keep
Well, yeah.
4xing and 10xing power and speed, and pretty soon it's just blazing fast. Calculation time. But all this comes at a cost of power. That's why they're building now. When they build a data center, they're having to build some way of powering it because there's only so much electricity to go around. So they got to figure out the whole electricity thing, the whole, you know, power source. But
Well, you know what Google's doing? At least they're looking into it. is building their data center in space, orbiting the Earth. Because, and this makes sense, and I kind of like this idea. If you're going to put a satellite into space, at least make it a really good, maybe less selfish reason. Just saying. um, and that is, in space, solar energy is way, way more efficient than on Earth.
sure,
A lot more light. It's way more intense. Um,
you don't have to worry about
no
storms and
interference, no
clouds
atmospheric
and
interference, and so on and
right.
so forth, right? So you're getting hit with more direct photons, a lot more of them. Um, and also, there's another thing that wasn't mentioned in an article that I first read this about, is it's in space. So while it can get quite warm, there's still no air to get hot. So proper ventilation of the system means cooling is super easy. Any chips you put in the thing to operate can be phenomenally cold compared to what it would be on Earth, making supercomputing, if you will, considerably easier. And so it's a phenomenal idea. Imagine if they had even 1/10 the satellites up there to do that Musk has up for just to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, I read about that, and that's going to be way down the road before anything like goes.
Not as far down the road as you think. It's not tomorrow because they're
Well,
literally
no,
on
I
the
know it's not
drawing board
tomorrow,
right
but
now. But if
I
you think this is
just
going to be like 30 years, I mean, this is not a 30-year project. Elon Musk said, I'm going to do this and that and put satellites in space. And from the time he drew it up on a napkin or whatever he did, it was only 5 years before he launched the first one, or the first test. Five
yeah,
years
but
after
to
that,
beam
he
some
had
internet
satellites in space. It's
is
only
way
been
different
15
than putting a
years.
data center where you're moving petabytes of information.
No, you don't understand. It doesn't take as much. There's a reason why you have to have a giant farm to do it, because you need all that energy. Again, you don't need nearly as much in space because it's more efficient energy. It works better. The chips themselves can work easier if they're colder. You get more power, more efficiency. So you really don't need that many. And the first one they put up is only a test one when they
Well,
do it.
I understand the whole point of it being in space and that aspect. My point is the transmission from that data center to Earth still has to go back through the atmosphere, still has to deal with all that interference, still has to deal with that distance, and you're
Wait a
moving
minute now.
petabytes of information.
Hang on a second. The first one is going to be a test one. The first several will still be basically betas. If they do this, they're probably going to need 15 or 20 wrapped around the Earth. Talking to each other around the Earth is going to be not even a millisecond. It's a millisecond of a millisecond, a nanosecond. That's what it's going to take. A nanosecond.
You still have to get
Back
it
to Earth,
down to
the
Earth.
latency is not going to be any different than any other top end satellite, which is actually in the order of around what is it, 60 milliseconds that they can achieve now? Less than that even. I mean, Musk's millisecond rate is 120 something for watching movies on the internet. So
The
it's
amount of data that's going to be moved is, I don't think it's going to be
the amount of
efficient.
data that's going to be moved isn't about back and forth from Earth to there. Most of that data is going to be on those things. The amount of data you request is going to be kilobytes. The amount of data you get back is going to be megabytes or a few gigabytes. That's it. It's not going to be that much slower. It depends on what it is that you're looking for, right? This is not a situation where they're expecting to move all data centers to space, right? If you need the calculations done, it can do it there. Your results come back to you a fraction of what it needs to do up there. So
I understand that aspect of
yeah.
it. I'm not talking. That's not what I'm talking about, though. I just think that it's a wait and see. Again, it's a wait and
Well,
see.
of course, it's a wait and see,
It's, you know,
but it just seems like incredibly negative on that. And yet, you think Elon Musk is going to be successful in his stupid little AI Macrohard? No, come on.
I never said he was
That
going to be
some
successful.
bitch is going to fail. Like, what was that thing Google put out
Uh,
years ago that was supposed to be the next? They ended up making a Chromecast 5 years
there's
after that
different
instead.
levels of success, whether he fails at his big dream of overthrowing Microsoft and coming up with a competitor to Microsoft, two different things. One is a probability, one is very improbable. So there's different levels of
Well,
success,
first of all,
and
it's not improbable. Saying that you're putting a data center in space is not improbable is ridiculous. Of
that's not
course,
what I said. But
that's the
I'm
next
talking
level.
about Elon Musk. I'm not talking about the
Oh,
data
sorry.
center.
Okay, I thought you were saying that was improbable.
No,
Yeah, no,
no.
again, this is not a situation. It's just that you seem very negative about the idea because it's not going to happen tomorrow. Elon Musk's little idea isn't going to happen tomorrow either because there's absolutely zero chance that he's going to get three people to write an AI that can write an operating system and have zero issues with it, and people are going to want to get it. It'll be 10 years before he even comes close to that.
Well, I'm not negative about it being in space. I think it's they can very easily come up with some type
Yeah.
of solution to make that functional. My whole point was, I just think no one knows what it's going to take to move data between a data center and Earth. It's not going to be just a few kilobytes here and there. It's going to be way more data than that. In addition to
Again,
that, there's already been people who talk about the amount of space junk and shit that's flying around in our upper levels of space.
yeah, no,
It's
that's
actually
because of
it's
Elon
actually
Musk.
affected. It's actually affected. Well, whoever it's because of, it doesn't matter. It's still there. And you're going to end up having satellites colliding off of satellites. I mean, the space center's already been hit with junk.
Well,
So I mean, it's
yeah, but you're
there's
forgetting
a
it.
lot of different things that
The data center isn't going to be like Elon Musk's. The data center can be in geosynchronous orbit. It'll be way the hell further out. Way, way, way further out. There's not very many satellites in geosynchronous orbit. Only a few. Like in the grand scope of things, most of the
just makes the
satellites are
data
these ones
transfer
that are
even being
spinning around
that
the
much
Earth in
further out.
low Earth orbit, or sorry, extremely low Earth orbit.
Do I think they're going to come up with a solution? Sure, I do.
Well, I
I
think
don't
they
think anything
technically
is. I
already
don't think
have.
anything is
That's why I
impossible.
thought of it, but
I don't think it's. I don't think it's impossible to have a data center on the moon. Like, I mean, I mean, do I think it's going to happen tomorrow? No, but is it possible? Sure. I
well,
think
of course, it's not
technology
going to
can.
happen tomorrow on the moon. I mean, now a data center on the moon is going to be a completely different thing. Again, just because you have a data center doesn't mean you have to move all that data back to Earth all the time. That
Depends on
could
what they're
be
storing there as to
for
how
a
much has
different
to come
function.
down.
No, you don't have to. Everything that goes up there doesn't have to come back down.
That's my
That's
point. It depends on what you're putting there as to what has to come back down.
Yes,
Depends on how much
exactly. Now,
data
when
you're moving.
if they put a data center on the moon, which someday they will, and it's not going to be anytime soon, obviously. But at some point when that does happen, it'll be a bunch of them because a bunch of different countries will put data centers up there, obviously. Um, that's going to be a different story. That's going to be mainly for operations on the moon within orbit and for transportation to and from. Having a data center on the moon, a couple of data centers in orbit around Earth could suddenly mean that almost any ship could basically fly back and they wouldn't even need pilots or astronauts, whatever the hell you want to call it. I guess they would call them pilots at that point. And tourism to the moon would suddenly become a thing
Well,
because now you can have automated ships because the AI can actually generate all of the proper trajectories. They could change the courses, discover if there's something moving because there would be sensors and cameras all over the place, and it would be like, oh, there's a meteorite flying by or whatever the hell you call it when it's in space, a meteor. So we're gonna have to change the trajectory of the ship. Something that an astronaut would never be able to calculate because they can't see that thing until it hits them, right?
then be
So
dealing with
AI is
force fields and Star Trek laser
yeah,
beams
yeah.
and
Okay, you're going way overboard now. I'm talking about something that's in reality possible in like 50 years or less. I'm not,
sure. Look.
So
To finish this off, somebody is going to be watching YouTube 100 years from now when we're dead, and they're going to
and
go look at
laughing
these
at us.
idiots thinking that we couldn't do this, and they're going to be flying back and forth to Jupiter or some shit. They're going to be living on Mars and the moon, and they're going to be like, man, those guys were idiots. So, uh,
Yeah,
I
but they'll
think
also be telling their grandchildren about the first 400 people that died on Mars so that they could make it there later. Anyways, let's yeah, you said it rapiding. I have had such a hard time speaking English today. So for those of
wrapping
you who
it
came
up.
here to learn English, you came to the wrong channel. Having said that, we're going to let this one go now because I'm tired. I don't know what we didn't touch on, but I'm tired.
Oh no, we
Uh,
touched on everything we wanted to touch
I
on.
will leave you. I will leave you. Actually, well, my mouse stopped working again. Why does that happen? Come on, there you go. I have to. I have to leave you with one thing that I have to show here. We're gonna go with window, and I'm gonna show this because I want to say, you tell me right now. You can see this, right?
It says Toronto.
You you tell me right now that this here, and I got to get to the other picture. Hang on one second. This here and this here, this location wouldn't make a perfect map in Battlefield and or COD. I mean, look at this sniping location right here, climbing up these things. I mean, this is like the perfect map. I has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I couldn't help myself. And from that, now I am Lionel from Toronto, Canada, begging all of these companies make a Toronto map. That's Nathan Phillips Square if you want to know about where that location is. And you are.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure you're done, like
Yeah.
you bidding your city for the next COD map. But and I'm
Yeah.
Robert from Nashville, and we'll see you next week. Peace.